Happy Tuesday. I said happy Monday, everybody. My bad. Happy Tuesday. It's the final whistle with me, McAdill, and the one and only Chris James. He is back. Chris, how
What's up,
are you
people?
doing?
Man, I'm good, man. You know what I'm saying, man? Just came back.
I know he
and
didn't.
Now
actually.
he's gone.
Now he's gone.
He said
that straight talk is a mother.
Boost Mobile.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go to final whistle. Dan,
how you better look at bro.
And part of the All-Star panel, the one and only Coach Smooth.
Coach Smooth with the fresh hairline. Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Ooh, that mug crispy. I ain't gonna
Steve
lie.
Harvey.
I got that mug.
We got a couple more years before yours start catching mine and backward.
Not a couple more years. This might be a few days. I ain't gonna lie.
And everybody, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the hardest working man, Justin Riley with the Bama Standard. How you doing, Justin?
With the clean
nation. Acknowledge me. What is going on, fellas? And calling in on the CB radio, none other than Chris James. Glad to see you.
41 now, man. So, hey,
I got a bone to pick with you, Chris James. You felt that just because you turned 41 last Tuesday night, being your birthday, that automatically excused you from celebrating with your brothers here on this panel. I need you to explain why we should keep you on this show and what in the world could have ever convinced you that that was a good move.
Well, the first part on the bet.
All right, so as we go on,
I knew it was coming. I think the chat knew that was coming.
And this week is no different. Ty Hayes is skipping tonight's session because his fiance has a birthday tonight. Why they couldn't celebrate with us, I don't know. I kind of feel wrongly discriminated against, guys. I don't know. I'm in my feelings tonight. I don't know about you
guys. You know what I'm saying? It was my anniversary last week, but hey, I made it.
Hey,
that's
Justin,
right.
You know the saying, man. You gotta have your priorities right. Is Alabama football, then your family. No, Alabama football, then God, then your family.
Whoa,
don't forget Nick Saban.
Don't forget Nick Saban. He's right there. He's right there after God. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like one beat.
Well, you know, Smook. I've always been told it's the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Coach, and we automatically know that Jesus sits on the right hand of God and Bear Bryant sits directly to the left.
You better preach, Justin. You preaching tonight, Justin. He done started already.
And the key word to get into heaven is roll tide.
That's it. That's it. Hey, folks, before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button. We are brought to you by Workspace Solutions. They keep the lights on for us, but they also provide all kind of business needs for all you businesses out there. If you want a web presence, you want app presence, whatever you need digitally, they are the ones to check out. Workspace Solutions. And hey, if you're in a live chat, let's get rowdy tonight. Y'all make us go. You get us fired up. So I expect nothing less tonight. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section. Let us know how you feel. Chris James, I'm going to give you one more chance. I'm going to let you lead this show off, sir, because you got a topic that's fresh on the mind of not only of Alabama fans, but SEC fans and the nation alike. Go ahead, sir.
What's up, man? Everybody, as you all know, that the SEC, they dropped the 2024 football schedule last week. And, man, I must say, road games, well, outside of the SEC, road games at Wisconsin. And then we have Georgia coming to us. We have Auburn coming to us. We have Missouri coming to us, and South Carolina coming to us in conference. And on the road, we go to LSU, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Vandy. Now, that's tough because you got Georgia coming in. You're on the road at LSU and Tennessee, and then you got a road game at Oklahoma. they could be really tricky. And not to mention an early test against Wisconsin. My bone to pick with that is, why are we playing Georgia again so early? And Georgia hasn't even been in College Station yet. So why are they coming to us? And they just came to us 2 years ago, but they've been to us how many times since they've been to College Station, since Texas A&M has been in the conference? We played them how many times?
At least 4 times.
Three, I think. They've been to us.
Since Texas A&M joined?
3.
We played them 4 times.
I know, but they've been to us 3 times.
Yeah.
So why haven't they been sent out to Aggieland yet? And why are they back to us?
I know a reason. Because the SEC continues to baby Georgia. Let's just be honest. Like, they don't travel to Texas A&M. Alabama has the hardest schedule because we know Alabama football pays the bills in the SEC. You look at the schedule, like Chris said, we play Wisconsin. Like, we're kind of ahead of playing a Big Ten team, getting ready for the college football playoff. But not only did we lose the Mississippi schools, we gained the top 3 contenders in the SEC East, and still kept our Big 3. So, to me, the SEC is just showing that's what makes Alabama. Georgia are cupcakes. They keep babying Georgia's schedule. You remember last year, Georgia was scheduled to play Oklahoma, but they said, since they're coming to the SEC, they don't need to play Oklahoma. I'm like, they always baby Georgia, giving them these cupcake schedules. But to me, that's what separates Bama versus Georgia, and I'll leave it at that.
Smooth.
They're already playing the East.
Right, and that's exactly what I was about to allude to, Chris. Like, it's crazy that we pick up the top 3 opponents, the top 3 contenders out of the East, minus Florida. I don't see we don't have Florida in the regular season, which luckily that would have been like the gauntlet if we had Florida instead of Missouri, because they that what I'm saying, or Vanderbilt, but the schedule, I figure, as tough as it looks, is favorable for a situation in where we got a freshman in Julian Sayin. Starting off against Western Kentucky at home, starting off against USF at home, and then going to Wisconsin. Wisconsin not being a dominant team, but a good level of competition as far as skill level and talent, to where if we have a freshman quarterback with an experienced second year, third year O-line, with a lot of these linemen that's going to be on the O-line, second year, third year guys, then you got talking about your young receivers. They will be in their third year. Kendrick Law, Prentice, Bonds, they'll be juniors next year as Sayins guys. And then you got the freshmen coming in with Sayins. And then not to talk about the possible recruits. So, I mean, just for an offensive side, me being an offensive-minded guy and letting me pay attention to the offense, this schedule kind of favors what I want to happen, what ideally I would want to happen with Julian Sayins being committed to the University of Alabama and coming in. And I believe, honestly, he can come in and win this starting job, and to have West Kentucky, USF, Wisconsin, and Mercer as your first 4 games before you get Georgia to come into your home, that's big. You get what I'm saying? I'd rather Julian Sayin play Georgia at home than us go to Georgia. And you follow it up with playing South Carolina at home. And then you got a freshman quarterback going through that gauntlet time of the year, around late October, early November, against, Auburn at home. We get Auburn at home. We get Tennessee. We got to go to Tennessee, got to go to LSU. And then by that time, I think he has it figured it out for sure by the time we see LSU. So I kind of like it. It gives us that strength of schedule we need. Hopefully, if teams like LSU, Auburn, South Carolina can hold out to the weeks we see them. And I think it works out. As much as I hate it, we not getting the good end of the stick. It's a real crappy gig, but I like it for what it can project for us.
I embrace, the competition, you know what I'm saying? But I think I really, Julian Sayin to be on campus, but I really, expect one of the guys we currently have on campus to be under center. Great as Julian Sayin is, I expect one of the guys, if Miro wins the job, decide to return another year, or Simpson wins the job, that'll be going into their second year of experience under center. That's why I expect, whoever wins the job this year, if they return to school, they would definitely be the quarterback in 2024.
Hey, one thing, I think I lost my train of thought.
Oh my goodness. Take him
I
off
lost
the
my train
screen.
of thought just that fast. Just looking at your face, Dan, I just lost my train of thought.
You had 2 weeks to get your train of thought together. That would happen when you raise your hand when the alpha male is talking.
And this segment brought to you by Shady Pines Memory Care Unit, our new sponsor.
Go, Justin. We want to hear it, Justin.
What about the schedule, Justin?
I know what I was about to say. Before you go, doesn't the playoffs start 24? Is it next year or 25?
24.
So we'll have room. So it's going to be some 2-loss teams in there. As hard as the schedule is, we'll be in at 12 regardless. You know what I'm saying? That's all you want. You just want to be in at 12.
And the next person to donate in a super chat will go towards replacing that low battery on the smoke alarm and whoever's background that's coming from. But I hear all your points. I hear all your points, guys. And Smook, as far as your perspective on the quarterback situation, whether it's Ty Simpson or whether it's Julian Sayin, yes, you have that little opportunity for them to grow and mature and get some games under their belt. And not playing in Athens and not playing in Columbia, which are very hostile environments, is going to make a huge difference as far as their maturity and their conference. But then you hit the gauntlet, and guys, you don't get a bigger gauntlet than that. Game 7, the Iron Bowl, then Tennessee, then LSU, then Oklahoma, and the nightcap is Vandy. Okay, I got a problem with this here. First of all, I don't like that we're not playing a Mississippi school. We chose to have Vandy in the place of either Mississippi school. We have more tradition playing either one of those teams. And yes, I agree. Relevant standpoint across the nation, they don't really have much bearing on the grand scheme of things, but it's a tradition-based matchup. We enjoy to see it. So why does Vandy get stuck in there? But I'm sorry, the Iron Bowl, this is my biggest bone to pick with the SEC. The Iron Bowl is not in the middle of the season. It's the final game. It's the game that you work the entire year to play for. The success or failure of the season comes in that game, regardless of what the record is. So why is it being played in the middle of the season, and why is Vandy the nightcap? I got a problem with that. Other than that, I embrace the challenge, and nobody's going to have a bigger challenge than Alabama. Texas A&M surely isn't going to have a challenge because they don't play Georgia or Alabama in 2024. So all the little pundits now all of a sudden are riding the Jimbo Fisher train to the playoff in 2024. But I'm sure Jimbo Fisher and all his greatness will find some way to run that bus off the road. But that's my 2 cents. Anybody else want to add to this?
I think too, I'm just going to end it on this. Well, for me, y'all made great points. And like, I love the point that you said, us embracing the schedule. I think, Smoot was talking about Coach Julian Sayin and the potential of having those, but having the toughest SEC slated schedule, I think to me that just separates Alabama to where future recruits, to me, like, why would you want to go play to Alabama? You're already having the toughest schedule. You're playing against the best. You're going to be on all the primetime games. Like, to me, that what separates Alabama. Just looking at the schedule, the reaction, the disappointments, the things we wish we could critique. But I think it just shows how good Alabama is to college football, and they have to play these big market games, whether it's Auburn, LSU, Tennessee, Georgia, whoever. You got to play Alabama because Alabama is what sells tickets. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Folks in the chat, how do you feel about it? Y'all hadn't really said anything about it here, so I'm kind of curious as to how you're feeling. So go ahead and tell us your thoughts. Do you feel like we hit it right on the money? Do you disagree with any of it? Show us what you feel right now. All right, time to move on to our next segment. And this is going to be cause for a lot of debate, I feel. Guys, who is your Mount Rushmore of Alabama defensive backs? This isn't just the Saban era. This is all time. So who wants to take this topic to start things out?
The DB.
Anyway, Dan, You waited patiently. You always
let
have
Chris
an
go,
opportunity.
man. He the
No,
DB,
Make
man.
up for last week, man. I got to make up for
Now,
last week.
now listen, Dan had a point last episode. He usually goes last, and people always steal his ideas. And Dan's been here every episode before anybody else logs on.
No, he missed it like 3 weeks ago. Y'all remember?
No, he's been here.
No Dan when Ty was on.
If you're keeping score at home, Chris James has missed more than Dan has. Anyway, Dan, go ahead.
Mute him for me, Justin.
Go ahead and start things out. Then we'll move to Chris, Matt, and then Coach Smook. I will go last.
Okay, we're doing the Mount Rushmore DBs, so I'm gonna go with 2 corners and 2 safeties. Okay, my 2 corners. First, I got my personal favorite, who I think was the greatest Bama corner ever, Antonio Langham.
Thief.
Can you mute him, please? I let him talk.
Looking like Mr.
Mute
Potato
Head. At the other corner, I'm gonna go with the best corner in the Saban era, Thorpe winner, Patrick Surtain.
Thief.
Safety. All right, this is where I got 2 surprises in here, but these are mine. This is my Mount Rushmore. I'm going with my guy, George Teague. The other safety, this is a guy. The reason I'm putting this guy on here, a Saban era guy, is because this guy could turn into instant offense better than anybody that ever played a game.
Eddie Jackson.
Why is he talking? Why?
He wasn't hugged as a child.
Yeah. But yeah, Eddie Jackson. Now go ahead, Chris. Chris, go ahead and take it. So I can just interrupt you. Go ahead and take it.
Come on. Hey, you already took 2 of mine, so I mean, y'all already know who the 2 corners are. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, you could add a Jeremiah Castile in there somewhere, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Well, do your Mount Rushmore. We have your Mount Rushmore 4 guys. Go ahead.
I'm going with the best to ever do it, Antonio Langham. You with me on that, Dan?
Yeah.
Best to ever do it, Antonio Langham.
Best to ever do
it. The best I've seen in the last 25 years, Patrick Surtain. Then I got to go with my boy Minka Fitzpatrick. Come on, somebody hit me. I got to go with Minka. Then my 4th is the enforcer. The reason behind the 2011 defense, 3-time All-SEC, 2-time consensus All-American, Mark Barron, shawty. Mark Barron. The baddest man to put on number 4 in the secondary, the ever put on that crimson. Mark Barron.
Let's go. Eddie Jackson?
Sir.
Yes.
Sir.
I love Eddie, but Mark was y'all forgot, man. I was at that Vanderbilt game when he hit Jordan Rodgers.
Oh, man.
Sideline.
Yeah, he knocked him into you, didn't he?
Yeah. I took my shirt in after that, boy. I walked the tight line for the rest of the night, boy. I ain't want Mark coming out of nowhere hitting me, man. But I saw that. But man, I saw him like just watching him in person, man. That 2011 defense, man, was the fastest defense I ever seen on the college level with my 2 eyes. And I've seen a lot of college games. But Mark Barron just played at a different speed, man. But he was like 6'2", 6'3", 220, 215, 220. And he hit like a tank, man. But his range from just the way he came downhill, how violent he was, how vicious he was, and then his ball skills. Dude was just unreal, man, at the safety position. So those are my 4.
Better than Landon Collins?
Oh, yes, without a doubt. I love Landon, but Mark Barron was just
Mark Barron versus Landon Collins. You taking Mark Barron?
Hey, 3-time All-SEC, 2-time consensus All-American. That's hard to beat. That's hard. And it's Smoot. That's hard to beat, Smoot. Just the accolades speak for himself.
Go ahead.
He was on that 9 and 11 team, man. Come on.
All right, Chris, you went over your time.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, look.
And by the way, for those watching at home, Chris, we ask that you not refer to anybody as Shawty in this chat. This is not your OnlyFans live feed.
OnlyFans.
Shawty.
The OnlyFans handling juicy fruit.
Your Tinkerbell.
You'll tickle me, Elroy.
I think my Elroy. Don't remember go get Elroy. Bring Elroy out.
Matt Cadell, save us.
Okay, since we're done with OnlyFans talk, my Mount Rushmore, I keep it sweet and simple. excuse me, I'm getting choked up. Obviously, number one. Pause. Number one on my Mount Rushmore, Antonio Langham. I mean, you know, I love the 92 team. I got to go Antonio Langham. My other position, PS2, you know, Patrick Surtain. I got to have him on my Mount Rushmore. And I got to have Minka Fitzpatrick. Minka Fitzpatrick, to me, was unreal. And at the last position, I'm going George Teague. Because he made, to me, the most two impactful plays, what really got me into Alabama football. Chasing down Miami in the Sugar Bowl, the receiver, stripping him, taking the ball away. To me, that's the iconic play. And then the high step in the 92 Sugar Bowl. So, to me, George Teague rounds it off for me in my Mount Rushmore Final Four. Coach Smoot?
Coach Smook, are you going to make Langham the consensus pick?
Yeah, for my real Mount Rushmore, but for my troll Mount Rushmore, my top DBs.
I like
since
this.
Everybody took my answer, like for real. Like Dan, the only reason I know about Teague is because of how much my dad talked about George Teague, and then what I got to see from him in the league. So, just knowing, you know, what he brought and how he changed for Teague plays safety, man. Like that dude, his range was stupid, like
ridiculous,
stupid recovery speed, and that you don't get that. And I understand where you coming from, Chris, with Eddie Jackson, but Teague was Teague was that. I mean, I go back and I look at highlights. If Teague played in the era nowadays, you talking about over the top? Ain't no over the top on Alabama with the last probably like 12 years of DBs we've had. He would have saved that year, which features some of my Mount Rushmore when we had Deion Blue. That's on my Mount Rushmore. Josh Jobe is on my Mount Rushmore. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you know what I'm saying? Kyrie Jackson on my Mount Rushmore. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Bradley Silv on my Mount Rushmore. You know what I'm saying?
Savion Smith.
Hey, Silva's still playing now.
Who?
Bradley Silva's still playing, believe it or not.
You know what's crazy? A lot of people are still playing.
What's the name? Fulton.
That don't mean that they're doing
John Fulton.
Oh, Fulton. I forgot
John
about
Fulton, Elvis Presley, as he called himself.
Oh, man.
Freshly.
I got one for you. Feline.
Come on. Hey,
wow.
But for real, and I see people putting Humphrey in there. I don't think I remember. Humphrey probably played with the most talented secondary group for what, 2 of his years.
Yeah.
So he didn't really get to showcase how elite he was. Mark Barron started that group there, and you know, when he was the safety, Mark Barron changed the type of safety Saban looked for. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if you look at all the safeties that's had success, Mark Barron was that dude. But my real four, I'm going with Teague. Gotta go with Surtain because he just did it from freshman year all the way through. Gotta go with Minka. You know, I mean, and then, dang, man. Langham's the GOAT. Langham's the GOAT off rip. Langham's the GOAT off rip. So, and I'm just saying, like, I was stuck between Barron and Jackson, like you guys said, and Barron was he just changed the game. So that's my four.
Man. All right, mine's gonna look a little different, and I'm sure gonna get some looks from the panel and probably from the virtual side of things here in the chat. Go ahead and get out of the way. Antonio Langham, undisputed. There is no argument there. You don't have a greatest of all time list without Antonio Langham. And by the way, he is now on the ballot for the College Football Hall of Fame. Should have already been there, should be in the Hall of Fame. Do the right thing and vote him in, whoever is making that decision. All right. After him, without question, guys, I look at the landscape over time. Jeremiah Castile. You can't mention defensive backs without mentioning Jeremiah Castile, who actually is still tied for the most interceptions in a season with 7. He is the grandfather of defensive backs and one of the first families of Alabama football. Definitely has provided us with so much talent in his sons. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Mark Barron for me, man, undisputed dude was him. There's no question. We've already given a sufficient explanation as to why he's on all of our lists. But I got a 1B. And this guy was Mark Barron before there was a Mark Barron. And this comes from the 1995-1996 seasons, and that's safety Kevin Jackson. He was that dude.
Yeah.
He was all over the field.
Yeah.
His first game as a starter against Georgia in 1995, he had 3 interceptions, 1 for a pick 6. And then in 1996, he had 7 interceptions in one season, tying Jeremiah Castile with the most in one season. He only played 2 years. He was All-American both seasons, All-SEC in both seasons. So I can't sit here and leave Kevin Jackson off my list, not just because he's one of my really good friends, but if you really study Alabama football, Kevin Jackson was that dude in the 90s. If you want to see how defense was played, anybody on those teams can serve as a fantastic example. And, yeah, it was hard picking from the numerous examples of defensive backs throughout the years. But mine's a little unorthodox, but that's what I'm going with. Dan, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I want to add one more. This guy flew under the radar, and simply because he played under some subpar coaches. But man, I'm telling you, one of the best to ever do it, did it quietly with that Roman Harper. My guy.
Roman Harper. What I told you, Matt.
Let me tell you.
You did say that.
Go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
Not only that, Dan, if we're going to go that direction on that same exact team, Charlie Peppra.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie Peppra was a baller, man.
Yeah.
Chris James.
But the top practice player in the country, boy. I should make it.
Okay,
Hey.
I gotta address this real quick. Owen Davis. And why are y'all hating on Deshae
You're not
Townsend?
hating.
There is no hating.
Deshae
Deshae is top 10.
Yeah, top 10 easily.
Easily.
We got room to pick 4, bro.
Because it's two I put ahead of Deshae Jackson. Fernando Bryant.
Deshae Townsend, man.
Yeah, that's my boy. But Fernando Bryant
He was a dog.
and D. Milner. That 2012 D. Milner
Yeah.
was the best single season I've seen from a corner, from a safety. Like what he did 2012 was just unmatched. What D. Milner did. Just his physicality and the way he played that year in 2012. He was by far the best corner in the country that year.
Yeah.
And he just took away one side of the field. And then when you went at him, man, he was gonna knock your head off.
Yeah.
Like D. Milner 2012 and Fernando Bryant is the reason why Deshae Jackson, I have them next.
Deshae Townsend.
Deshae Townsend. Deshae Townsend, longtime Pittsburgh Steeler, my bad. And then, like you said, Roman Harper. Harper is like the most underrated. Like, man, dude was so good, man. Quick story. One day I was in practice. We was in practice, and Roman was over top. We were playing man free. Roman was the high safety. I was in the slot covering, so I had outside technique. I think the guy in the slot I was covering ran a seam route. So I'm on his hip. The ball's in the air, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, man, you have to make a play. Next thing you know, I just feel a body just flying over to both of us. It's Roman. Intercepting and picking it off. Dude was a freshman. He wasn't even on campus a whole 2 weeks. It was like the camp of his freshman year. He redshirted. Like Roman was so good, he didn't have to redshirt. Like Roman was like probably the best DB I played with at Bama. Between him and Reggie Miles.
Oh. Man, Reggie Miles. That's a guy who didn't get a whole lot of pop.
Yeah.
Reggie was a dog, man.
I think them guys played in the wrong era.
Yeah.
If they played in today's era, they getting the and I say the same for even like Mark Barron. If Mark Barron played in today's era, we wouldn't even be talking about Derwin James and those guys that came a few years after. You get what I'm saying? Like he really set the tone for physical cover safety. Even with Ed Reed came from not Ed Reed. Is it Ed Reed from LSU? The safety?
Eric Reed.
Eric Reed. Eric Reed, the safety. Like he was cold too, but Mark Barron was you know what I'm saying?
Justin Woodall, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Nick.
Oh, Ronnie Harrison, man.
Ronnie Harrison. You know what? What got Ronnie Harrison is the fact that he didn't play safety all his career. Ronnie Harrison played quarterback, tight end.
Quarterback at Florida High in Tallahassee.
You get what I'm saying?
Justin Woodall do if Woodall would have been coming through now. Rashad Johnson.
Oh, that's what's up, bro.
Shouts out to FFA, all the ag students out there. Future farmers of America.
That's Auburn. That's Auburn's feeder school.
McAdoo, FFA.
Matt drove the tractor to school on John Deere Thursday.
Man,
go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
That was a great discussion. I think that we can debate that. We can also branch off into like sub debates. Greatest walk-on DBs, greatest walk-on players. I mean, you mentioned Rashad Johnson. That's a shining example.
Wayne wasn't bad either. Wayne
Bacon. Okay. The story about Wayne Bacon. First of all, he chose to be a walk-on. He was offered several other schools. He turned down scholarships to other big name schools to walk on at Alabama. So he was actually that dude. He just decided to come to Bama where the big boys play.
Man,
made a good career.
Was Avery the walk on?
No, Levi Wallace.
Levi Wallace.
That
was my guy.
Out of New Jersey.
The top walk-on DBs or top walk-on.
Didn't Sincere originally walk-on?
No.
He was
a late signing.
Yeah, late signing.
Okay.
Like Wallace Gilberry. Like those guys were found late. Boy, Wallace was found late. Wallace was found like right after signing day.
Yeah.
All right. That could be a great debate next week. Folks, what Mount Rushmore should we talk about next? Go ahead and send us an email, thebamastandard@gmail.com, thebamastandard@gmail.com, to let us know what Mount Rushmore we need to put into existence next week. And hit that like and subscribe button right now. We need you to do that. All right, number 3. This is Coach Smook's segment right now. This is something that he's been dying to talk to you guys about. Coach Smook, you really like Julian Sayin. Let's talk about what's going on with him.
Guys, now, if you've been following any type of content that I interact with, I'm not a guy to get sold on high school players and recruiting and get excited. We saw what Bryce Young did when he came to Alabama. Day one, we knew Bryce could be a starter. He could have played 2020, and I believe we still would have won a national championship with the amount of experience that was on that offensive line. The guys you had at receiver in 2020 and Waddle, Smitty, Mechie, Bolden. They had Billingsley that year, I believe, in 2020. Like Najee Harris was in the backfield. Brian Robinson was behind him. Like you had just a stable of talent. So we saw what Bryce was able to do. You got a similar situation in Julian Sayin. You got a team that's trying to figure it out. We're kind of in our transition year. We have quarterback competition questions in the offseason. So it's one of those things where, man, I'm so excited. I got to watch Julian Sayin's live. And yes, it was a 707 passing camp competition, but you're talking about a competition with, out of the top 100 recruits, 64 of those top 100 recruits, 24/7 top recruits, 60 of them, 60 plus, were at this OT7 competition, this 707 passing camp. And I'm talking about, you got to think, out of the top 100 recruits, how many of them are offensive linemen? How many of them are defensive linemen? How many are running backs? And then you got to think about the heavy, side of that those ratings are wide receivers and DBs. And most of those guys, a lot of those guys are there. And this guy went out there. If you go back and you want to watch it, he plays for this 7-on-7 team, Raw Miami. And if you go and look at the balls placement this guy has, mind you, they have a 4-second timer for the clock, and these coverages, these coaches that are coaching these teams, they're not rinky-dink coaches. These guys coach staffs. They have experience. And Julian Sayin came out after missing the first day of quals. He showed up the second day, and just the team looked like a totally different team. And it wasn't that he was doing anything so special. It was just ball placement. The deep ball is there, efforts. I'm talking about 40-yard passes so effortlessly. On the spot, on the dime, on the rope, making opposite hash passes to the sideline. It's crazy. I mean, the deep comeback route. The guy has a knack for throwing the back shoulder pass with such grace and accuracy. And the level of accuracy, and if he's able to go and jump on a team like that after only, not practicing with them for 7-8 months since January, to come in and go with that team and help them win that competition for the weekend after only playing with them for a day, guys, I think we have something special in Julian Sayin. The guy has the build, he has the talent, the mental part. I don't think he's going to enroll early. And when you see guys like that, we have so many questions in the quarterback room. I don't care if Jalen Miro goes out. If Jalen Miro doesn't go out and throw for 4,500 yards this year or 5,000 yards, 30 plus 35 touchdowns, if we don't have 2 1,000-yard receivers this year with whatever quarterback, Julian Sayin will be our next quarterback. That's my bold prediction. That's my bold take. That's my hot take on Julian Sayin. He is that good, guys. He is official.
Thank you, Coach Moot. Guys, do y'all want to give your 2 cents before we move to our next segment? Pretty powerful words by Coach Moot.
Chris, go ahead, Dan. Dan want to talk first because he the guy that put me on Julian Sayin.
Yeah, let me tell you this about Coach Saban. The reason why I don't think Julian Sayin is going to be the star quarterback that year is because Coach Saban did it once, with an inexperienced quarterback, and it failed. That was with Blake Burnett, and he put in another inexperienced quarterback. He was kind of forced to because he saw it. You know what I'm saying? But even when Tua came in, it was the same hype around Tua. Tua did not get in until the second half of the last game of the season. So it's going to be tough. Coach Saban he's loyal and he's kind of reserved too when it comes to experience and everything. I'm not saying maybe toward the end of the season, we'll see Julian Sayin because he is that guy. I'm no doubt about it. He is that guy without a doubt. He's on that Bryce Young level, Tua level. He is that guy. I just don't see him being able to make an impact until somebody falls flat on their face. That's the only way I see Julian Sayin coming in, before somewhere mid-season. You know what I'm saying? But he's definitely not going to come in and just take over. I can't see that happening. Great as he is.
You know what, Dan? As much as I want to rock with you on that one, there's a change happening at Alabama. Mm-hmm. Coach Saban is evolving. Tommy Rees is there for a reason. I don't believe Tommy Rees is going to be quiet about how he feels about Sayin. I don't believe it. And Tommy Rees knows what he has in Sayin. You got it. And you follow recruiting. You already know how he's jumped. That was Tommy Rees's number one priority when he got to Bama, was to make contact with Julian Sayin because he already had committed when we had Bill O'Brien. Julian Sayin was already leaning towards Bama when we had O'Brien. So when Rees got in the building, he's already made that contact. Sayin has already been mentioning, the type of camaraderie he's building with guys that's already at Bama, the type of contact he's having with those guys at Bama, the freshman receivers that's going. So I think it's going to, if, like I said, Miro has to play lights out this year, or Simpson, whoever is the starter, has to play lights out and leave no question. And if we don't win a natty, we're going to have a quarterback competition talk all off season. The year Barnett and Hurts was the guys, and Bateman or whoever was the third guy, I forget. But the year that they were the guys, what did we just come off of? Coker? Come on, man. Like, we just came off a natty. So we didn't have a solid quarterback. I don't think if we don't come off a natty this year with the quarterbacks we have available, Sayins is up for him. And I'm telling you, it's you don't deny that talent. Bryce Young was good. I feel like Sayins is better than Young, man. I said it. Take me to the cross, whatever y'all want to do. I feel like Julian Sayin at this stage in his career in high school right now, the skill he's displaying, the level of being able to break down coverages, and he's better than Bryce to me. And he has the build for it. He has SEC build. I mean,
I fully expect Sayin to take over on Raiola for the number one quarterback spot. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me, Ray, if Sayin ends up as the top overall prospect in the country. That dude's that good. Right. The question is how quickly he's a mid-year enrollee right now.
Yes, he is.
So it depends on how quickly. First off, it depends on how we do at the quarterback position in 2023. Secondly, it depends on how quickly he picks it up. Now, just say if we roll with a guy like Lonergan, if he just somehow, as a true freshman, wins the job and has a Jake Fromm type year or whatnot, I think it would be kind of it'll be kind of hard that second year, for Sayin to come in. If somebody young wins the job, I fully expect them to at least, be the starter for 2 years. The only thing about Lonergan is what if he wins the job and he's the starter? Is Sayin going to wait that long, or is Lonergan going to, transfer out? So I believe it'll be if our quarterback this year is in the all SEC caliber, is an all SEC, Sayin will have a chance to take the job in spring next year. So it just depends on if Milroe comes in turns to Michael Vick.
And he's going to the NFL.
What?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
He only need one strong year.
If it's Ty Simpson, 2 years out, Buckner 2 years out. Lonergan is the one question mark that if he wins the job, that'll be a very tricky situation, being that he has to be 3 years.
I think if Milroe balls out this year, he's going to be hyped just like Anthony Richardson was this past draft. But the thing is, I think he has a higher upside, higher production potential than Anthony Richardson. And all you people dogging on Jalen Milroe, just go watch tape of Anthony Richardson. Yes, he's got a lot of athletic ability that just makes you go, wow. But then there's moments, like I said before, where he forgets how to football. So I feel like Milroe, if he has a kind of year that I feel like he's gone. Ty Simpson, if he doesn't take it over, Dylan Lonergan is a quarterback I'm looking at. Does he take over? Because he really impressed me in the spring. But say Lonergan doesn't take over and Sayin does come in and ball out. Are we looking at losing Lonergan and Eli Holstein? Something to think about.
But think about it though, Lonergan is a baseball player. And UA is on an upward trajectory in baseball.
He came in 2 quarterback class anyway.
I think he's a baseball player first, then football.
Yep.
Even though he's a great quarterback, but I think baseball is where his heart is. So I think he'll be locked in, especially with the new baseball coach coming in.
Right.
I think he'll be locked in. He'll be more content of staying than any of the rest. I think we lose 2. If Sayin was to take the job, I think we lose at least 2 of them. But I think next year, regardless of whoever takes the job, I think somebody's going to be gone. So I expect, at least some 1 or 2 to be gone after this year, regardless.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it happens at Bama. You got to think our running back room goes through it every 2 or 3 years. We don't see it much in the wide receiver room lately, but the quarterback room is one of those things where when guys, if you mess around and stick around, DB is bad too, but you mess around and stick around and you don't get it that, you're not trending upward by the end of that first year. It might be bad for you, but I think, like you said, Lonergan I don't think he's going to be pressured to move. I think he's kind of solidified in being, hey, if my chance comes, I'm there. If not, I'm still here because it's a win-win for him. Holston is the one I think might be the one to go because he was highly touted, and I feel like if he doesn't get it, after Sayin comes in, he definitely can go somewhere else and start day one. But it's gonna be hard. Right now on this roster, if Julian Sayin was on this roster this year, where would he be right now? Just based off of what you've seen, Dan, Chris, Matt, where would he be on the roster right now? If he was on the roster with Buckner, Milroe, and Simpson, and Lonergan,
he'll still be 4.
QB1.
Well, I'm saying he may win a job, but heading into it, you still Saban's not gonna put those guys over those guys that's been on campus.
Like, I'll tell you right now, if he was on campus now, he'd be QB1. But I'm not going to lie about that.
You know what I'm saying is Saban doesn't do that. Saban is not going to risk go ahead and throw it and name a starter right now and risk losing his whole quarterback room.
Right.
He plays it smart. He noticed anytime we have a quarterback, he rides it out through the fall.
He's going to let him lose it.
To keep from having guys transfer out, he never announces a incumbent unless it's just obvious. Like Bryce Young was obvious. You know what I'm saying? Mac Jones was obvious. But when it's like an open competition, he's not going to announce it until after fall camp. You know what I'm saying? Because If he announces too early,
sometimes even later than that.
Butler's gone.
Yeah.
And we're down
quit asking, okay?
Yeah, so quit asking. I'm not gonna say quit asking. He'll probably end the season as quarterback one, but going into it, he wouldn't be quarterback one. He'll still be how it is now.
All right, y'all. So y'all heard the bell. We're going to transition to our next segment. Like I said, y'all, Julian Sayin that dude, but we're going to transition. And this kind of leads to something that we always wonder, man. Like, we have questions on our roster right now, and we have some. We always fantasize as Bama fans, like if we had such and such. So we had. Let me pull the question up real quick. I'm sorry. Where's my mouse? From Jason Walker, one of the fans. Hopefully he's watching tonight. Jason, if you're watching, your question is made it to the panel today. And the question was, if we could add any former Alabama players, any former players to this current team, who would it be and why? We're going to simplify. We're going to make it more direct. If we could add one Bama player to this current team, one former Bama player to this current team right now, who would it be and why? We're going to start with Matt. Going to go to Chris, Dan. I'll go then Justin. You'll close it out, brother.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Marcel Darius. I think if we get a big time, defensive tackle presence, with all this talent at the linebacker position, somebody who can play the 3 to 4, can play the end, can play D tackle. I just think the way he played, his tenacity, I think Marcel Darius would do a lot for the juice on that defensive line, to help Jaheim Otis and all those guys play with that dog and keep that defensive tackle tradition. So I'm going to roll with Marcel Darius on this one.
That's an interesting one.
Hey, man, make it fair, man. Let them do one offense, one defense.
Nah, go one, bro.
One.
First impulse. First impulse.
I know Dan gonna say. Dan probably say Rondo McClain.
Hey, don't speak for Dan.
Here you go. Hey,
Chris. See, Chris trying to sneak 2 or 3 in there.
Exactly. You see how sly he's being right now.
Okay, if we had one, it's like the only thing we're missing is that top end. It's like at first when I was thinking about it was gonna be Bryce Young. Obviously, just bring him back for another year, but I'm gonna go with Amari Cooper.
Oh,
add Cooper to that wide receiver room. What you got?
Too many wide receivers.
Wow. But then you're okay with Cooper.
Hey, Amari Cooper, think about it. Add Amari Cooper to that room. Yeah.
I think you messed with your quarterback.
And he was a star quarterback's best friend.
You know what I'm saying?
With either hand with that one. If you right-handed, just throw it up in left hand. You good?
He's gonna be so open, man. Amari Cooper, give me a Cooper.
He was a new quarterback best friend. But me, y'all, it's no question, man, without a doubt. It's our biggest question going into the season. We've been talking about it even on this show some. The quarterback position, man. One guy, Bryce Young, hands down. End of discussion. We had Bryce Young on this roster as our returning quarterback. We would be number one in all the polls right now. Am I right? The answer to that question, definitely Bryce Young.
That's cheating, though, man.
That's the question. That's the answer to the question.
After that bowl game, right there, that performance he put will, without a doubt, be
without a doubt.
I'm gonna go different. Y'all know, y'all say like, I'm gonna go different, and I'm gonna stay with the quarterback position, but
Tua.
No, not even Tua. I'm going AJ.
Damn it.
I'm going AJ.
You see how I feel going last time.
I do. Hey, the proficiency that AJ played with, the timing. If AJ had an opportunity to play under Sarkisian or under Lane, or even I believe with Tommy Reese coming in and the amount of talent we have in the tight end room at the wide receiver position and the running back room. AJ McCarron didn't have the greatest O-line that first year. He was going crazy. It showed up the second year. So I believe with the roster we have now, the skill sets around him, AJ McCarron, he would look like a Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Now that's a great one, Smoot, because AJ, I love Bryce Young. AJ had that alpha male.
Yes.
You know, he get in the lineman face. He was fiery. You know,
he commanded a lot.
He commanded excellence.
Yep.
Yeah. So
especially
you know,
with
you
the
couldn't
mentality,
go wrong. Yeah.
With the mentality of these kids now.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta have a quarterback like that. That's why I feel like Jalen Milroe is taking the lead in the quarterback room now, because I feel like he's holding guys accountable. He's not being just a teammate. He's being like a leader that's going to lead. He's going to work hard, and even if he's not the best, his work ethic is going to outshine. And AJ McCarron work ethic and his ability to know what the heck he was talking about. Yeah. You know, on the field, off the field,
from it to players. Yeah, definitely.
You can't do nothing but respect it.
Justin.
Freddie Kitchens.
I literally have nothing to say, because everything that I literally had written down right here was not only taken by the honorable Coach Smook, but everybody on the whole panel.
So stop texting.
I know who the best bang for your buck would have been.
But listen, I will say AJ McCarron was my obvious choice. Is Bryce Young the greatest to ever play a position at Alabama? Absolutely. But AJ McCarron, guys, you hit it right on the head. The master and commander of the offense, the guy who had ice in his veins, a guy that didn't care what the coach called. He would literally look at the huddle as soon as someone said what the play call was and say, we ain't running that. This is what we're doing. Line up. We need that alpha dog back. We need that injected into the veins of every single player on that offense. AJ McCarron, if you're soft, he don't need you. And he'll tell Coach Saban right now, get him off my field. He's a liability. You can't argue with that fact. And if I had to pick somebody else who has the same kind of dog mentality, it'd be Darius Stewart.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine Darius Stewart and Kendrick Law playing your slots.
Man.
You running slant concept. You running inside concept. No matter what you talking about, we gonna run an inside concept. Whether it's strong side, weak side, we can offset it. I'm running slant concept. Sending those two across the middle.
Yeah.
Darius Stewart was that guy, man.
He killed a few people on the road route just to do it.
Yeah, I'm sending them on crack blocks
every time.
Yeah.
Hey,
we running sweeps. We running old school sweeps, 28 sweeps.
Student body right, student body left.
Hey, Smoot, I'm going with Matt Goodell, so he'll be playing. I'll be the host of the show. I'm going with Matt Goodell.
Get him out of here. Go to practice, Matt.
Go practice, Matt.
Get the practice.
As your new host. So.
But Darius is a guy who played like he was pissed off every play. He was not going to be denied. He invited physicality. He's like, all right, you got one guy, you better bring more than that. And he still blew through all of the guys every single play. He was like a cross between Steve Smith and Tyrone Prothro.
Yep.
Right on.
Hey, give me your value pick. One offensive player, one defensive player. Everybody go.
Value pick.
You pick
go,
one
Chris.
offense,
You pop it off. You pop it off. You pop it off, Chris. Go.
Barrett Jones offense, Minkah Fitzpatrick defense.
Go, Dan.
Ooh. Offense.
Your best value.
Can't say, oh man. Oh, well, give me Derrick Henry. You just give him the ball 100,000 times. You talking about best value, Derrick Henry offense, Rolando McClain defense.
I'm going with Najee Harris on offense. For this year's team. You talking about Justice Haynes? I'll go Najee Harris. You talking about double-headed monster? Jace McClellan, my dude, but you put Najee and Justice back there. Yeah, that's a different type of running game. And then defense, oh man, I need my safety over top, so I'm going Eddie Jackson with Caleb Downs back there.
Okay.
I'm going on defensive end, Quentin Williams. On the offensive end, I'm going surprise at the guard position, Womack.
That's Womack.
At the guard position, we would pull him every time.
Every time.
No, Womack.
I'm gonna change my answer. Go ahead, Justin.
The two value picks.
Go, Justin.
Man. Offensive line, I'm going to go with Big Sam, Chris Samuels.
Woo!
I can't avoid that. And bring Langham back, if not just for the trash talking alone, and he can just break down DBs mentally.
Langham and Kool-Aid.
Wide receivers mentally.
Hold on, pause. Langham and Kool-Aid on the defense secondary.
Boy, you won't have to worry about that. What happened with Tennessee?
Good question for you, Smoot.
Hey, I know Smoot know who that is. Dan will tell you who that is because we used to talk about it all the time.
Brody.
Hey, that AJ McCarron deep ball is some of the thing.
Oh my God,
it's beautiful. Okay, the best
Brody.
deep ball. Okay,
Brody.
But now we talking about strength wise. It wasn't the prettiest, but you wasn't.
Ask Matt about that.
Brody.
Tua.
Tua, man.
Tua?
Tua.
Are you trolling?
National championship. I don't see a deep ball in that clutch situation better than that. For me,
that was a little 20. That was a 20.
That wasn't even a deep ball. That
was deep ball.
Deep ball. I'm still giving it to Tua.
AJ McCarron to Amari Cooper in the Iron Bowl.
AJ McCarron to Coop against Georgia. That was like a 62-yarder.
AJ is up there. That Iron Bowl, the Coop. I was like, yo, that's
99. Hey man, that was it.
Hey, Mac didn't have a bad one either, y'all. Mac didn't have a bad one.
But
Mac had a nice
double hitch. I'm talking about just drop back, set, and let it go. Mac used to always double hitch, and that's
true.
Oh, shoot, you want to talk about that? But that Andrew Zhao. Zhao used to flick that thing, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
hey, he didn't have no traditional throwing motion either. Like Zhao was like some backyard QB, like the dude you pick up in the hood because you knew.
But you know who we don't talk about? They had a great one.
Joe Namath.
Blake Sims.
Oh, Blake Sims. Yes,
Blake Sims.
Yeah. He threw a nice deep ball for a running back.
You better put some respect on his name.
Yeah.
Right. Damn right with Blake. Blake was a dog.
Man.
He had a pretty one. He had that.
He was our poor man's Vic, man. He was our poor man's Vic.
That's
real.
The most underrated quarterback to put on Crimson. The most underrated. Give that man his flowers.
I think he's underrated because we don't look at him as a quarterback. That boy was an athlete. He had good snaps at running back. He had good snaps at.
If Blake Sims is on this roster with Tommy Reese as the OC,
oh yeah, we'll be straight.
What is this offense gonna look like?
Lots of flashing. Hey, look, man.
Blake will have 3,800 passing yards and 950 rushing yards.
A lot of quarterback power.
Who do you think? You don't remember that shake he put on that DB from A&M?
Exactly.
A&M. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Hey, but listen, man, I saw Blake in high school, man. Blake was the quarterback at Gainesville before Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
People forget that.
Yeah.
Blake was a big time quarterback in high school. That's why people say he's a running back, but they don't realize his genes, his background is a quarterback. That's what he played in high school. They just moved him to running back at Bama because he was so athletic.
Yep. Deshaun Watson was getting a massage on the prior to the game. That's what it was.
Pause.
Throw the flag.
All right. And before we close things out, we have a segment we have renamed Logical or Losing It. And we got this take from a fan here recently that commented on a couple of the clips from the final whistle when we're talking about the quarterback situation. I can't imitate Morgan Freeman, so y'all just have to visualize. This comes from River City Tider. Look, I ain't seen squat from any of these guys. None of them. And none of you on the panel discussion or in the comments have seen anything either. If none of these guys are not better than what they are, we are screwed. You all are just assuming they're better. Evidence. Yes, Coach.
Please.
Can I go first, please, Chris?
Coach, and then Chris James, and then Matt, and then final whistle Dan.
So Chris, before you go, do you want me to talk about the proof, or do you want me to talk about just being a football head and knowing football?
Eat him up.
Okay, let's just talk about the proof. First of all, Jalen Milroe he hasn't lost a game playing at Alabama.
Beat it as a starter.
I don't care. You talk about his turnovers. He had 3 turnovers that game, and we still win, right? He comes in against Arkansas. The game's in hand. The gap doesn't close. We don't lose ground. I mean, he comes in mop up duty, throws a pick every now and then. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to learn the speed of the game. Jalen Milroe hasn't had an offseason as a starting quarterback to get starting reps. He's never been in the competition to be a starter. So, I mean, Bryce was here. Jalen Milroe knew where he was. He needed to be a solid backup. And he was solid enough to keep other guys from taking his position as the second guy. So there's your proof there. And then to say, like, you go into the spring game, if you're judging based off the spring game, River City Tide or whatever your name is, River City Tider, you don't know Bama football. Everybody knows you can't take nothing away from a spring game, a A-Day game, especially since Nick Saban has been there. You know, we're not like other schools where we play one offense, one defense versus 2 offense versus 2 defense with these crazy scoring scales and all this stuff. So there's your proof right there. Watching football, if you don't go and watch, I seen somebody say Blake Barnett and Julian Sayin, put those 2 in the same sentence. The skill sets aren't even, they're 2 different worlds apart. Julian Sayin is on a different level with his footwork, his release, his arm strength. Blake Barnett got a lot of hype because of what school he played at and the region he played in. He got a lot of that pretty boy hype. That don't fly nowadays. Coach Saban learned his lesson putting that much investment into Blake Barnett. Julian Sayin is a student of the game. So there goes your proof right there, River City Tide. So if we talking about logic or losing, my boy losing it if he don't think Alabama has a decent, a good enough QB room to go and manage this team. Somebody in that QB room can go and manage and get us to the playoffs.
And that's the thing that a lot of Bama fans who don't understand football cannot grasp. We don't have to have a 4,000-yard passer to make this offense successful. We just don't. The offensive line and those elite running backs are going to lead the way. And, let's not forget about what we talked about last week, guys, the tight ends and the kind of impact they're going to have. Yeah. And then after about, game 4 or 5, these quarterbacks are going to be turning loose, whoever it is. And then you're going to start seeing those stat sheets fill up for these wide receivers and these very people who are commenting so negatively against this quarterback room are going to be eating their words and escape into the darkness until it's time to get autographs at Walmart.
Right.
Ryan Green, perfect example. Nobody gave Jake Coker not a chance to lead us to a national title after he lost the job to Sims the first year. Nobody thought Jake Coker was going to be able to come. He had to fight. He wasn't even a for sure starter until the second year, and then he had to come in and win the team over against Ole Miss in a losing effort. And y'all think Jalen Milroe not as good as Jake Coker? Or who else we've won with in the past? Greg McElroy? You don't think Jalen Milroe can be a Greg McElroy? Come on. What his arm can't do, his legs can do it. He showed us that.
All right. Tua is the only quarterback that's allowed to look good in the spring game. Every other, Bryce didn't look good. I'm just being real. What Bama quarterback looked great in the spring game other than Tua?
First year.
Mac Jones.
First year.
AJ McCarron. Man, I saw that guy that spring game. AJ McCarron.
And he's a what? 3-time champion.
Right.
Whether he redshirted or not, he's still a what? 3-time champion. But let me tell you though, man, go back to that drive when Milroe kept it and scored on that long touchdown run. That drive that was beautiful. That last drive when he kept throwing it to Malik Benson. That drive that Ty Simpson had. Man, you got to understand, man. Rome wasn't built in a day, man. You take those things you build off of. That's what film is for. That's what film study is for. That's what coaching is for. They're going to take that spring film and they're going to go in there and correct those mistakes and build off the things that they did good. That's what coaches do, man. Whoever has the reins at Bama, man, they will not be charged with throwing the ball 50 times a game. That's what y'all fail to see. We're going to be a run-heavy team that thrives off of play action. And you know what play action does with a guy like Milroe? You get him on the edge, night. DB cheat up, over his head. DB back up, Milroe gone. So, he fits in perfectly for that type of system. The play action heavy system that he can pull it down, get you the first down. The game, y'all think Jaden Daniels for LSU is just an amazing passer? Can he run as good as Milroe? You know
Not
what I'm
even
saying? What he
close.
did for
I'm
LSU.
not
He
as high.
won 10 games with him.
Yeah, I'll take Milroe all day.
You know, they won 10 games with a guy, and all he did was use his legs. You know
I
what I'm saying?
mean-
That's how he beat us. He didn't beat us with his arm. He beat us with his legs. And you don't think
Exactly.
Milroe can win games with his legs with those receivers and those running backs that we have? Come on, man. You don't think Ty Simpson is a 5-star quarterback that's in year 2 can sit there and get the job done? You don't think Buckner, a guy that's been in the system that looked great against Ohio State, looked great against South Carolina, won the MVP of the bowl game. You don't think they could be serviceable? You don't think they could be Greg McElroy? I mean, we went 12-0 with my boy John Parker Wilson in 08.
And I mean,
being vanilla as ever. We ran 2 tights with a fullback, heavy Glenn Coffee, lots of Glenn Coffee, and we had Julio. But I mean, Julio lit it up, but Julio wasn't Amari Cooper at the time. Julio was just a big kid that we put out there that was unpolished. He was just more athletic than everybody else.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we've done it. It's been proven that we can be run heavy with a serviceable quarterback. So one of those guys is going to take about it. So you mean to tell me all 3 of them are going to get reps and all 3 of them are just going to look horrible all camp? None of them are going to just step up and take the bull by the horns. It's by the law of average. When has Bama ever had bad quarterback play under Saban?
Never.
Never.
Like, never have you seen a horrible quarterback under Bama. You probably ain't seen the Heisman every year, but you've seen. I mean, it's just the way that we do it.
We did see horrible quarterback play under Saban. Man, that first half of that Ole Miss game.
But that was the
Lane decided to start.
No, that was a wake-up call to Coker.
Yeah.
That was a wake-up call to Coker.
Because you remember Coker started the first game of the season. They were rotating.
That was a wake-up call to Coker, to give him a kick in the butt, and it worked.
Yeah.
And it worked. And he was lights off from that point on, from the time he came in. That was done by design. I think Saban was willing to.
That was the first time Coach Saban benched the quarterback doing in-game. That was the first time.
No,
that set up for 2nd and 26.
He benched Hurts. Yep.
Man, I'm telling y'all, the way I see it, guys, with this quarterback room, and just to continue to allude to the losing it comment that was made, like there's no depth. The amount of depth we have in the quarterback room this year, the level of competition, those are usually the best seasons that Coach Saban produces. When we have controversy at the helm, at the head, those are because guys are grinding. They have to prove themselves. And when you figure out, when I prove myself, I actually earned it, it's hard to stop somebody like that. That's why it was hard to stop Jake Coker. That's why it was hard to stop Blake Sims. That's why it was hard to stop Jalen Hurts. I mean, all that plays in. We're not talking about just scheme. We're talking about mentality. We're talking about mindset. And when guys assume and they embrace that mindset, it's gonna be hard. You guys got to get off of this hype train of, the next quarterback at whatever school. Think about what these guys put on the field. And Jalen Milroe is a viable quarterback. And same with Simpson. Same with Lonergan. These guys can throw the ball. They can run it. They can. All they got to do is worry about protecting the ball. That's it.
We have 5 quarterbacks on the roster. They are all top 100 recruits. So you mean to tell me not one of them could be the guy?
Yeah. Go ahead, Justin.
I was just going to say, I'll keep it sweet and short. Coach Saban won with Rohan Davey and Jamarcus Russell.
Right.
just going to throw that out there. I just think that a lot of these fans, and especially the casuals, as these people were mentioning in the chat, have gotten so spoiled to what we've seen from Jalen, Tua, Mac, and Bryce, and they think that we're supposed to have that every year. And if we don't, then automatically we are back in the Independence Bowl. And they think that automatically equals a national championship when it doesn't. It didn't require that. All those other years we were winning titles before we started spreading the ball out, and we don't have to do it now. Hey, Georgia won with Stetson Bennett not doing all that. So,
right.
There.
And to add to your point, you're talking about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, when he came on campus, nobody believed in Jalen Hurts. Nobody was talking about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was wasn't he like number 3 on the roster at spring game?
I think 4. Yeah.
Like nobody was talking about him. I mean, he got in the spring game, showed his legs against second string, third string guys, got us excited. But nobody thought Coach Saban would bring in Jalen Hurts for Blake Barnett. That third drive of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came in and fumbled his first snap as an Alabama quarterback in live gameplay. So, I mean, you guys got to really calm down and understand if Milroe is the guy in front right now and Saban's, public about not denying that or not saying that he's not the guy in the league right now, I think that's a good sign for Milroe. I think the fact that we have competition in the quarterback room is great, being that means Coach Saban feel like whoever right now, whichever guy I throw out there, they should be able to manage this game until they're able to take full control. That's big for us.
Right. I'm gonna tell you something. This was pointed out by Josh Pate. I'm gonna tell you why whoever we put on the center is gonna be successful. Out of all the existence of the 247 Sports Composite recruiting rankings, classes 3 of the top 6 are still on campus at the University of Alabama. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Just the talent around them alone is no reason for the quarterback to fail.
How many years of recruiting info and stuff? That's 20-some years.
Yeah.
3 of the top 6 classes are
3 of the top 6 classes ever in the composite.
Seems like
it's on campus at the University of Alabama right now.
It's funny, out of all the sports media personalities who are freaking out and claiming death and destruction in Alabama, especially because of the quarterback situation, Josh Pate is not. He thinks we're about to take a ride to the title town again, and then nobody's going to stop us. Josh Pate knows what he's talking about.
Kirk Herbstreit said
it too.
I don't pay attention to those ESPN guys, man, but Herbstreit has been on our number for the past 2 years. Especially when we had Bill O'Brien once we signed Bill O'Brien, Herbstreit has been on our neck and he's been calling, and I hate to give him credit, but he was right. You can't have a Jalen Milroe and expect him to run an NFL style offense. It's not built like that. So Tommy Rees, I believe we're not even gonna recognize Jalen Milroe once the season starts, man. We haven't seen a Tommy Rees scheme under Nick Saban. We haven't seen it. We saw the same plays from 2011, 2012, 2013 in the spring game. We've seen the same plays. We've seen the same formations, like a few adjustments here and there, but everything looks the same every spring game. The thing is, you want to come out there, you trying to see how fast somebody is, you trying to see how big somebody got since they've been on campus, you trying to see how much more weight Jaheim Otis. So fans, calm down. Quarterback gonna be straight. This team is probably going to dominate early and show us early what they're capable of. I mean, early, guys. I'm talking about week 2. We're going to be so excited. And it won't be because of the competition we play. We're just going to see guys execute. We're going to see guys dominating, winning their one-on-ones. Jaheim Otis, those guys up front, blowing it up in the trenches. It's going to get crazy for us this year.
And for those of you who are all about the spring practice warriors, let me remind you that Luke Del Rio showed out in one of our spring games.
We didn't get Matt take on it.
Oh no, I'm y'all said everything that I wanted to say.
Well, guys, we have went over our time because we're having a lot of fun, and it's crazy. We have not mentioned OnlyFans a lot, and I feel like we need to get a lot of that in before we close things out. But it's our closing segment, so we're going to go around the room, round robin. We're going to promote what we got going on. And all of you people, pay attention to what these folks have. I want y'all to subscribe to everything they got. Show them your love. Let them know where you heard it from. And also, to hit that like and subscribe button here. Just blow this channel up. We're going to start out with Matt Caddell. Then we'll move to Coach Smoot. Then Chris James. And Final Whistle Dan's going to close it out for us. Matt.
What's up? So, yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about the final whistle with the all-star panel, where I think you get the best content when it comes to Alabama football. I got Football University on Monday nights on CTS Sports Room, and I'm running a weekly special for my OnlyFans this week. My OnlyFans
on top of 11. 11 on top.
My OnlyFans this week is called The Hard Count.
Go for it.
Coach Smoot.
All right. So yeah, y'all know where y'all can find me at Coach Smoot on every platform. That's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Coach Smoot. Man, we're getting the content. Y'all look for it's gonna be a little dead space for the next 2 weeks. We're working on some things. But come towards the end of July, man, it's gonna pick up, especially with the that pink pony. Yeah, that's the you know, y'all can pull up on me on that OnlyFans this week.
What's the promo code?
Dark Film Room with Coach Smoot. We're gonna be studying the deep. We're gonna be I'm gonna be teaching y'all the deep dig route this week. We're gonna go with the 12 to 15 yard deep dig route this week. We're gonna specialize in how to get in the crevices and crevices and learn how to just get in there and put in that work. You know what I'm saying? Get at the top of your
break.
As long as you say the 12th man.
Chris James, what you got, brother?
Chris K. James Senior on Facebook, at Coach Chris James on Twitter, at CKJ Senior, CKJ Senior 32 on Instagram. You can catch my OnlyFans. 32 minutes of pain.
The spread formation with Chris James.
All out blitz.
Hey, this week only, Chris James burner OnlyFans account, 50 Shades of James, promo code Gap Integrity. Hit that up.
Gap Integrity. Feel the gap.
And he got another one where he playing the Jack linebacker.
Hey, nah, he the backside help.
Jacking it up with Chris James.
Dan, no pressure. For the past 2 weeks in a row, you've came up with the best OnlyFans name. Can you do it for a third week straight?
I don't know. I really let me see. But first,
go ahead and pop your regular.
Let me remind everybody one more time: hit the like and subscribe button. You know, but social media, you know, the family is right here on Twitter at the Final Whistle Dan. You can also catch me, you know, OnlyFans. You know, this week I'll be teaching the pivot route.
Get out them breaks.
Taking them hips and getting out the breaks.
You gotta
extending the drive.
You gotta sing into it.
Extending the drive.
Oh man.
Red zone D, tighten down.
Hey,
Folks
Willie, you going crazy, Willie? The crackback.
Folks in the chat, where else can you find this kind of content? We need you to actually add to it. The Bama Standard at gmail.com. Give us your best OnlyFans names, and you will be featured next week for the final whistle. This is your opportunity to have the spotlight. And should we have a family whistle? Can't even talk. The final whistle top fan, folks in the chat. Who is our top fan on this show? Go ahead and send us your nominations.
Yeah, where's Van this week?
The Bama Standard at gmail.com.
Man said he had to work today, so he wasn't gonna be able to get in tonight. He wrote me on Facebook. So
Dan,
yeah. Shout out Dan Edwards.
How many followers you got now?
Let me see. I'm still in my 20s.
Trying to get you to 69.
But
can you outlast your followers?
Oh yeah,
I tell you what.
Can you outlast that?
If you get me to 40 followers next week, I'll go topless.
Follow. Hit the follow button.
Hey,
Dad gonna be pouring syrup all on them.
That's right. Yeah, next week.
I'll go topless for Taco Tuesday.
Oh,
that's all you gonna see taco meat.
hey, Matt, bring your tortilla. Bring your tortillas.
Hey, I don't want the
don't
queso. Don't give me the queso.
Hey, fans, don't forget to send in your questions also to the email. Just to give them that email because we had some good fan questions that were commented after on the post watch, and then there were some good ones sent in emails. I also had some sent to my Facebook page. So if you guys don't know how to get in contact with the rest of the guys, you can always. I'm streaming live content every day, so come in. I talk Bama football anytime. I could be shooting somebody, finishing move, on Warzone. You talk about Bama football, I might just end up losing it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely get those questions in. Got 2-minute drill. Brian, get out of here, bro.
Hey, Justin, I got
That's
a
right.
couple. Mount Rushmore linebackers, Mount Rushmore offensive tackles.
Ooh.
All right, that's it for next week. We're going to do it.
Rushmore Gunners, and my guy CKJ32 is number 1. He's on my Mount Rushmore Gunners.
Until I got fat. and they sleep me inside.
But that email that Coach Smook was talking about, the Bama Standard at gmail.com. Again, the Bama Standard at gmail.com. And if Final Whistle Dan gets that mark and he indeed comes topless, we will introduce him next week. And now, coming to the stage, Velvet Thunder.
Y'all show him some love. He's trying to pay some bills.
If he reaches 50, he got to wear suspenders.
Y'all can push me out.
like a dirty Steve Urkel. Good Lord.
Got to put the little tassels on this little thing on this chest.
The spinning ones.
Man, no, I gotta do it, manly, man. I'm gonna come out with some thongs and some Timberlands.
Some leopard prints.
The basketball.
Hey, y'all remember the Nike commercial?
Hey, you gotta look clueless like Waldo Geraldo. Waldo Urkel.
Some chocolate. Show us some love.
Dan's gonna come out here wearing nothing but Stacey Adams and Brute cologne.
Oh my God.
And some juke.
Oh no! My uncle used to wear that junk, man.
He's gonna have his host on with the 6-shooter sitting in there.
Man, don't forget that English leather. You just come in a plastic bottle.
Oh man, they used to have my whole room stinking with that English leather.
Dan's gonna be over here with a glass of Cavassier.
Master Cavassier.
But yeah, folks, we're doing a lot of things here on the Final Whistle and the Bama Standard channel. If you missed the Bama Standard tonight, go back and watch the replay. We had our Darius Stewart on. We mentioned him earlier with good reason, so go back and check that out. Again, get all your thoughts and ideas to the Bama Standard at gmail.com. You're making us the number 1 show on YouTube. Prove it to us by showing up. All right.
One last
yes,
thing.
Chris.
Everybody invite a friend next week. Invite somebody, bring somebody with you next week.
Now I'll do it for all of us. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide. Peace.